to do? He had not left that position in 72 hours. They thought he was being devoted. He was. But devotion was not all of what was keeping him there. To do. Scout was a 4-year-old yellow Labrador, 82 pounds. Do. And 3 days after Marin came home from the hospital, he had chosen his place and remained in it with the certainty of an animal who had made a permanent decision. The place was the edge of the living room blanket where Marin slept in the bassinet during the day. And later, when Marin was moved to the portable sleep surface her parents had set up in the bedroom, Scout repositioned to the floor beside it with the same unhurried exactness. He was not anxious, he was not circling, he was lying with his head on his paws, eyes forward, breathing slowly, present. Theo and Sasha had been told by friends, by their pediatrician, by an article Sasha had read 3 times, that Labradors sometimes chose a new baby as a primary bonding subject, and would shadow them with what looked like protective intent. This was understood to be normal, touching even. They posted a photo of Scout beside the sleeping Marin on the blanket with the caption, "Our Guardian," and received 37 responses about how beautiful it was. It was beautiful. But it was also something else, and they were reading only the part that was easy to see. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. On the 4th day, Scout changed one thing. He added a behavior to his vigil. Periodically, he would rise from his position, walk to the doorway of the room, stand there, turn back, and return to his spot. Not restless, directional. He was looking at the hallway, then at the baby, then at the hallway again. This happened every 40 minutes for approximately 6 hours. Theo noticed it in the evening. He mentioned it to Sasha. She said he might need water. Theo checked the bowl. Full, she said he might want to go out. Theo let him out. Scout went to the yard, remained by the back door, and returned to his position beside Marin within 4 minutes. The next day, the behavior continued. Now he added a vocalization to "The doorway stops." The same low sound repeated twice, directed toward the hallway. Not alarm, not play. An output that had no category in what they knew of him. Sasha called her mother, who had kept dogs her entire life. She described the behavior. Her mother said, "Have you checked your CO detector?" Sasha had not thought about the CO detector. She pulled it off the kitchen wall. The battery was dead. The backup was dead. It had been dead for an unknown number of days. The house had switched to gas heating 4 days ago for the first time since spring. She called Theo. He called the gas company. The technician arrived at 9:15 and found a hairline crack in the secondary heat exchanger of the furnace, a fault that had been producing low-level carbon monoxide into the house circulation for approximately 4 to 5 days. The concentration in the main living areas was below the threshold the technician's alarm required to sound. At floor level, in the room where the baby and dog spent the most time, it was higher than the averaged reading suggested. The technician said slowly, "At newborn respiratory rate and floor-level position," and Theo stopped listening to the sentence but kept hearing the words. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. To do. Scout had been lying at floor level in the highest concentration zone for 4 days. He had been detecting the compound continuously. To do. His increasingly directional behavior, the doorway stops, the hallway focus, the vocalization, was a communication about source and exit. He was a dog positioned at ground level in a room with a degrading air quality gradient, with a newborn beside him, doing the only things available to a non-verbal animal trying to indicate that something in the space was wrong. To do. Theo sat in his car in the driveway after the gas crew left and thought about the photo he had posted. Our Guardian. He had been right about it. He had just understood it too shallowly. Do. Every Guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. To do. The furnace was repaired overnight. 4 CO detectors were installed, 2 on the main floor, 1 in the bedroom, 1 in the living room near floor level, which is where the gradient matters when there is a newborn on a sleep surface 30 centimeters above the ground. Scout kept his position for the first night after the repair. Then, on the second night, for the first time in 6 days, he moved his sleeping spot. Back to the foot of the bed, back to where he had been before Marin came home. The room was clear. He had been lying in the wrong air for 4 days because the right air was what the newborn was breathing. And somewhere in the calculation he runs in the dark on the floor of a house he has always kept. Staying was the only answer. The next story is about a bulldog who started blocking a toddler from a specific corner of a room, and what the mold crew found inside that wall 6 days later.